I love my neighborhood and I'm deeply obsessed with my life here. I'm obsessed with my life here. Every day I feel so good. I feel so grateful. I feel so appreciative. I feel so warm and bubbly. Everything I said I wanted, I'm living that in Bangkok. Everything. I am just overjoyed. I am in the right place, living the life of my dreams. I am smitten with my life. It is the best feeling in the world. If you're moving to Bangkok, here's what matters and here's what absolutely does not. Most people waste weeks trying to find a condo here, and you don't have to. Hello, my name is Elle, and I'm also known as the Empress of Ease. I am the creator of the House of Ease, and I recently moved to Bangkok 6 weeks ago. I looked at 30 condos. I finally found one that I absolutely adore in a neighborhood that I am obsessed with. It has everything I wanted, everything I needed, everything that is on my list of non-negotiables, plus some fun bonuses. But I literally looked at 30 condos before we landed on this one. So I am here today to give you the how to find the best condos in Bangkok that actually fit your needs, your desires with ease, without exhaustion and overwork and doing too much. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed most of the condo shopping, but if you don't want to spend weeks on the back of a motorbike zipping and zopping all around the city in order to find your perfect home, this video is for you. Let me give you a little backdrop for me. I am the #1 life coach in the world for ambitious, high achieving, but exhausted women who want sweeter, softer, more ease-filled lives. And this is why this video is so important, because I want you to have the sweetest, softest, most ease-filled move to wherever you're going, especially if it's the city that I love called Bangkok. I'm also the creator of the House of Ease, School of the Well-Rested, and we have an upcoming workshop called the Money Machine Workshop that's happening this year, December 21st, 2025. It is a 90-minute workshop. I'm only having 8 participants in it, and it's a powerful experience where you can figure out how to maximize your genius and make money from it without exhaustion, without burnout, without overwhelm. You will leave this workshop with a tangible strategy to utilize what you've already been doing with your life, the skills, your life experiences, your resources, your tools that you don't have to get another certification or another degree for. And you can start charging at least $100 an hour. And because you are probably sitting on this secret skill that you don't even know you have, people are ravenous and ready for it, and you don't have to do anything else to actually start making money from it. So if that sounds interesting and good to you, check out the link in the description for the Money Machine Workshop. It's actually half of the price of what I usually charge, because I also offer Money Machine calls one-on-one with clients, where we dive deep into the nooks and crannies of how you can make money that you're just sitting on and taking for granted. But this workshop is half of the cost of what a one-on-one Money Machine call is with me. So if you want to join a select group of very special women who want to figure out how to get the money that they're already sitting on in their lives, join us in the Money Machine Workshop, linked below. And I will see you on winter or summer solstice if you're in the Southern Hemisphere for the Money Machine Workshop. Without further ado, let's get started. I left Seattle, Washington on October 1st, 2025. It took me a long time to get to Bangkok because I thought we were going to go west, since Seattle's on the West Coast, but I didn't even realize that the flight that I booked was on Qatar Air, which is my favorite airline, but it was obviously going to go through Qatar. And so we went all the way from Seattle east to Qatar and then to Bangkok. But eventually I arrived in Bangkok. If you want to watch the video of my travels, check out this video right here. I'll also put the link in the description where you see my journey, my behind the scenes journey of my travel day, leaving Seattle and arriving in Bangkok. So when I got here, I already had my plan. I had my plan for months, which was one, it looks like a green screen behind me, but this is actually my condo. It's not a green screen. I know it looks fake, but it's real. This is the bowl of noodles that I had for brunch today. And these are flowers. And these are flowers that I got on the way from the train station to my condo. So these are dishes I got at IKEA. This is actually my real apartment. It's just blurred in the background. So anyway, I had my plan. My plan was to stay at an Airbnb for a month, spend the first couple of weeks just getting acclimated, and then spend the next couple of weeks looking for a condo and then getting the condo and then going to Vietnam for a week to get dental work done. And then coming back when I got back from Vietnam and moving straight into my condo. Now, as I mentioned, I looked at about 25 condos before I left Bangkok for Vietnam to get my dental work done. Because motorbikes are so easy and accessible and affordable here, I was zipping and zopping, bipping and bopping all over Bangkok. And Bangkok is massive. Bangkok is huge, which was probably the most exhausting part, being on the back of a motorbike, driving for 30 or 40 minutes, going from one end of the city into another in order to look at these different condos, because I didn't know what area I wanted to be in. I had seen a video by a YouTuber that was talking about the RE neighborhood, ARI. And I thought, that sounds like what I want. It's cute, it has food and restaurants and cafes. It's kind of hip and youthful. So I was like, that sounds good. But I was open, right? I was open. I had my list. I wanted a more local neighborhood. And the Airbnb that I was staying in, which is phenomenal, and I will do a completely dedicated video about them, was in the Din Dang district, which is more local. It's not a big touristy area. So I really enjoyed that area. I liked it was the walkability. I could still take a motorcycle taxi to the train. I went to the spa and got a massage right around the corner 7 times in 2 weeks. It was a great area. And so I was thinking, okay, I want a more local area. Part of how the process works is there's all of these real estate rentals, Facebook groups where you can post what you're wanting and agents will respond and send you their listings, and agents will post their listings as well so you can see what's available in the market. Lesson number 1 that I learned is that most agents in Bangkok, at least in my experience, do not listen to what you have to say. It's like a needle in the haystack to find an agent who actually listens to what you want. So the first thing you have to know if you want to get the best condo in Bangkok is you have to know what you want. Now, you don't have to know the specifics because that's going to come from a lot of boots on the ground, lived experience, being out and about, figuring this out to say, oh, I like this neighborhood. I don't like this neighborhood. Oh, this is what I want. Because Bangkok is so massive and rapidly growing that you can really have whatever kind of neighborhood and experience that you want to have here. You can live in a very touristy, heavily trafficked, lot of expat neighborhood, which is not at all what I wanted. I did not want to see expats regularly. And so I knew that that's not what I wanted. But most of the agents that when I first started looking, kept directing me to more expat areas, which is not what I wanted. And I had told them it wasn't what I wanted. So one, you have to know what you want in terms of quality of the neighborhood. What are the things that you want to have there? And what are the things that you don't want to have there? Even if you don't know what the specific areas or neighborhoods are, that's really going to help the agents reduce the areas that they send to you, the buildings that they send to you, because Bangkok is so massive. You don't want to just say, oh, I'm happy anywhere, because you may not actually be happy anywhere. You may be the opposite of me. You may hate being in a local neighborhood. You may want to walk to a McDonald's or a big mall, or you may want to hear Western music or eat Western food. If that is something that you value, you need to say that. If you want to be somewhere where there's clubs all the time, you need to be able to say that. If you want to be able to walk to the train station, you need to be able to say that. And so approaching your move and your condo shopping from a place of ease means that you give yourself permission, unadulterated, unfiltered, unapologetic permission to want exactly what you want, so that you can tell the agents, the real estate agents, what you want so that they can find it for you. You don't have to compromise and you don't have to wibble and wobble, but you do need to be clear so that you can tell them so that they can find it. And so this is how I landed. One of the ways that I landed on the neighborhood I'm in, which is the RE area, ARI. So I would say, for example, I want it to be in a local neighborhood. And so one of the agents I was working with would start to show me things in more local neighborhoods. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe not this local. And by that, I mean, I want to be able to at least speak some kind of English to somebody if I have a question or I need help, not in such a local neighborhood that no one can speak English, or if I get lost, for example, or if I need help, for example. And so I realized, okay, I need like a sweet spot where it's mostly locals, but maybe some people speak English, and maybe there's cafes and restaurants and things I want to do in my neighborhood that's walkable. Now, that is what the RE neighborhood, the one I ended up in, is. I love it so much. If you've lived in Seattle, it might be akin to a Capitol Hill. It's like artsy, it's kind of funky, there's shops, it's fun. If you've lived in Atlanta, which I have, it might be akin to Little Five Points, or Brooklyn if you're in New York. Now, it's not like any of those places, but it has that same interesting, innovative, creative, youthful feel of those areas in those neighborhoods. So you have to know what you want. That's step one. Two, you have to know also what your non-negotiables are, and you need to be firm, clear, and consistent about it. And you really need to hold fast of what your non-negotiables are, because they're not going to hold that. They're going to send you what they want to send you. Okay. Agents are going to send you what they want to send you, regardless of what your non-negotiables are. For example, one of my non-negotiables was I need a bathtub. Are bathtubs very common in Bangkok or Thailand? No. Are they non-existent? Also no, which means it exists, right? The condo that I wanted with the things that I wanted existed. But even when I told agents a bathtub is non-negotiable, they would send me links to condos that were available that didn't have a bathtub, multiple, sometimes 2 or 3 in a row. And I would respond, does this have a bathtub? Bathtub is non-negotiable. And they would say no. So part of the process is you're going to start weeding out very quickly, because you have your list of non-negotiables. You're going to start weeding out very quickly who is an agent that's actually paying attention to and listening to what you want, and who is just trying to make a sale. That's going to be the huge determining factor. And I just started ignoring the ones who were not listening to me, because I'm not going ring around the rosy. One was not listening to me and put me in a neighborhood that I knew that I probably wasn't going to like, but I was like, let me just go see. Absolutely not. Because it was so busy, it was so chaotic, it was so hectic, it was so noisy, it was so loud, so much going on. It was in a high-rise building on a high floor, which is not what I said I wanted. I wanted a low-rise building on a low floor. I was like, ain't nothing I told you I wanted in this building other than the spaciousness and the price. I don't want nothing about it. And so I had to start getting much more discerning, much more strict, much more no nonsense about what I was going to see. Because if they're going to send me on a wild goose chase and I'm trying to find a home, it doesn't actually make any sense. And so eventually I distilled down a very specific, very clear, firm, and non-negotiable list of everything I wanted. Now, my list, again, isn't extraordinary, but it is very specific. And the things that I want are also non-negotiables. And so this is what was my saving grace. The other saving grace, which was huge and invaluable, was the Airbnb family that I stayed with, which, again, phenomenal. I'm doing a whole dedicated video to them, which is coming up. The daughter, Sam. Hey, Sam. I know she watches the channel. Hey, Sam. She took out the train station map of all the stops and all the lines and marked out in red the places that, based on our conversations, she knew I was not going to be interested in moving or living. And thankfully for that, when I would post in the Facebook group, this is what I'm looking for, agents would say, okay, I sent you a DM with a property that you might like. Sometimes it was what in the realm of what I wanted. Often it wasn't. And I would also send my list of all the things that I actually wanted, and I would include Sam's map. And I would say, I am not interested in any area marked in red. Now, this is true for me, but it was also very helpful for the agents, because it helped them not send me any areas in red. It helped them whittle down what is a massive real estate market into areas that I was actually going to be interested in moving. And then those ended up being the places that I would actually go and look for my home. So this is the list that I made based on what I knew I wanted and based on all of my research. Okay. I said, hello, I'm looking for a spacious 1-bedroom, which in parentheses, I wrote 50 plus square meters. Now, for you, it may not be 50 square meters. I met a gentleman yesterday at the Adventures While Black Friendsgiving dinner, who's originally from Georgia. And he's very tall. I think he's 6'7" or something. And he said he needed 90 square meters minimum, right? That's what you're going to see in all of the posts for condos. is the square meters. When you see all these videos out here that are like, I pay $500 a month to live in a condo in Bangkok. I pay $400, $300 a month. If they're in a new high rise, what looks very fancy building with a rooftop pool and all that, they're generally 20 square meters. They're generally very tiny apartments and very luxurious buildings. If that's what you want, more power to you. I don't want a 23 square meter home. I need a roomy, spacious, for me home, right? Something that I can maintain and live. So this, what you see right here is like my living room area. The TV is over here. The kitchen is in the back. And then that door, this door right here leads to my bedroom, which is right here, my bedroom and my bathroom. So 50 square meters feels spacious enough for me. I don't need a huge palace. It also has a bathtub and it has natural light. Like right now, this is just my window. I'm not even using a lighting setup, right? This is just my window. So this is what I said. 50 square meters with lots of natural light, a bathtub, preferably one balcony. It is one balcony in a low-rise building. Now, it is not a low-rise building because I think there are 20-something floors, but it is not a high-rise building because there are buildings in Bangkok that are 70 floors. So this is a mid-rise building, which low-rise is considered 8 floors or less. But I'm on the 16th floor and I don't feel like I'm way high up in the sky, thankfully. I said a bathtub is non-negotiable. Part of what I also learned in this process is the questions, the standard questions that agents are going to ask on behalf of the condo owners. So how this is different from the United States is in the United States, you can go to an apartment building, talk to the building management, and rent an apartment that is owned by the building. Now, here, it may look similar. It may look like an apartment building as we're used to in the States, but the apartment buildings are actually not apartments. That's a different category in Thailand. Apartments are, in the same way of the States, owned by the building. You would rent from the building itself. But in these kinds of buildings, most of the rental buildings that you see in Bangkok are condos that are owned by individual owners. And the agents are the liaison between the owners and the renters. And so I've never met the owner of this condo. I will probably never meet the owner of this condo. Some people do meet the condo owners, depending on if the owner has listed the space themselves or if they want to be more involved. But I will probably never meet the owner of this condo because I'm working directly with the agent who, if I have questions, if anything needs to happen, if anything is broken, if I need anything fixed, I talk to the agent who then talks to the owner on my behalf. So when agents are listing the different properties, you can have multiple agents listing the same property. And so as I'm contacting and they're contacting me and I'm trying to find the home for me and people are trying to find the home and I'm filtering out the scraggly ones who don't want to work and finding the ones who are actually good listeners and taking me places I might actually be interested in. The consistent questions that come up as the agents are asking me things are, how long of a lease are you looking for? When do you want to move in? What kind of visa are you on? What country are you from? Now, I did see some listings that said they do not rent to Indians and they do not rent to Chinese. Now, I am neither Indian or Chinese, but it does give you an indication of some people's perspective of who they're not renting to. I did have an incident, which I may talk about later when I do my condo tour videos, where they didn't want to rent to me. It was very clear and it was very explicit, which is a longer story for another day. I don't want to detract from this conversation, but I will share about it. They did not want to rent from me or they did not want to rent from the agent who I was working with, who was not Thai. He is Serbian. He's Eastern European. So either way, I think they wanted to work with Thai people based on my experience with them, which again, I'll say that for another story time for another day. If you're not subscribed, subscribe now, turn on your notifications so you'll be notified when that video is up. So I started answering these questions in my message to give them as much information as possible so that they could make the decision of whether or not they wanted to move forward with me. Some owners, for example, only want to work with renters who have a work visa or a long-term visa that gives them more permanence here, so that if their visa expires or they don't get it renewed or something weird happens, because Thailand has been cracking down on visas, that they don't just lose a tenant. And while you do have to pay 1 month of rent booking deposit and 2 months deposit that you'll get at the end, refundable deposit, they still don't want a tenant who's going to be flaky or just disappear on them, right? So these are the things I started adding into my letter. I am planning to move November 14th for a 12-month lease. I am an American currently in Bangkok, which is also another important factor. I wasn't trying to do this from overseas. I was in the city right now. I was actually looking for a home on a tourist visa. I do not smoke and I do not have pets, which are also two things they wanted to make sure of. I sent them a link to a video for a home that I absolutely loved. And I said, I like this style of room. They call condos rooms, right? I like this style of room because I wanted them to know what I liked. I was open to older buildings. I was open to low-rise buildings. I was not an American or a tourist here looking for the fanciest, newest, shiniest thing. Because most places with bathtubs are a little bit older. I was okay with that. I was okay with the older building. I was okay with the low-rise building, not in a tourist area. I needed to be very clear and very explicit about this. Otherwise, they're going to send me on a wild goose chase to somewhere I did not want to be, to something I did not want to live in. I am not interested in the areas marked with red, and I do not need to be close to BTS, which is their train station. Because a lot of the agents I was meeting were like, oh, well, this is right down the street from the train station. And I'm like, I will take a motorcycle taxi to the train station. That's not important to me. Thankfully, where I live now is actually like a block away from the train station. I can literally see it from my condo. Sometimes I would add that I work remotely, because sometimes they would ask what my career was. So you have to know what you want. You have to know what your non-negotiables are. And I would encourage you to have a working document that keeps this updated, right? Like this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. These are my non-negotiables as you're out on the road figuring this out. Let me know if you have any questions about how to choose your own specific place in Bangkok. If you're looking for a home, because this city has really whatever you want and need, but you do need to be intentional and deliberate about finding it. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'm happy to make a follow-up video. I looked all over Bangkok. I am in the RE neighborhood. I love my neighborhood, and I'm deeply obsessed with my life here. I'm obsessed with my life here. Every day I feel so good. I feel so grateful. I feel so appreciative. I feel so warm and bubbly. Everything I said I wanted is true. I'm living that in Bangkok. Everything, which I can talk about in another video, but I am just overjoyed. I am finally back on the right timeline. I am on the right timeline, in the right place, living the life of my dreams, and I'm overjoyed. I am smitten with my life. It is the best feeling in the world. It's the best feeling. Today's 80 degrees. If you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it a million times. All I want to do is be naked in the sun. And it is hot and humid here every day. I eat delicious food every day. I am out and about, bipping and bopping, living my best life every day. I am home enjoying my home sanctuary every day. This is the life I have dreamed of, and I am living it. And I am in Bangkok, Thailand, and I am so, so grateful. I want that for you. And if money is a challenge, if money is something that is holding you back, if money is something that you feel like you don't know how to get it financially, and you are tired, you're exhausted, you're burnout, you don't want to have one more thing to do, come join us in the Money Machine Workshop. Learn how you can make money from the skills that you're already sitting on, that people are going to pay you top dollar for. The genius of your skills that you are probably overlooking, that is available to you right now. And that's going to help get you out of wherever you are into wherever you want to be. So I'm going to include a link to the video right here where I map out the very extensive pre-work process that I give all of my Money Machine clients for you to help start understanding and mining your own life for where you're sitting on money right here and right now. And then join us on December 21st, 2025 for the Money Machine Workshop with an intimate group of 8 women. And I'm excited to do that with you. If December 21st has already passed, then you can still watch the replay and join us. I would still love to have you there. So thank you again for being here, and I will see you over here in this video. Bye for now.